All this week on Now in America, we're talking to average Americans who have something heavy to get off of their chest, something to confess. You'll hear from an ex-member of the Mormon faith, an ex-used car salesman, an ex-teacher, a former death row executioner, and this man, ex-gang member Art Powell. He went from the corruption of drugs and violence to rehabilitation in prison, to redemption with his mission to keep young people out of gangs. This is his confession.
Hi, I'm Art Powell. I'm a former gang member. With this coaching, this lifestyle, your life is on the line every day, every day. It's like a form of suicide. The name of the gang was I Refuse Posse. And I was probably the third in command. I took care of all of our enemies, confrontations. Mainly, I was called when there were issues with our rivals or with people that were looking to cause disruption to what we were trying to build. I was involved in numerous aggravated assaults where I've shot people. Terroristic threat because I threatened people. I told them I was going to kill them, and I made an attempt on their life. Kidnapping, armed robbery. So I was responsible for younger guys that were under me, providing them with drugs, providing them with weapons, for enemies. I wanted to spend all my time with them. I actually started spending more time with them than I did my family. Okay, I grew up in the Adamsville area of Atlanta, Georgia. It's the Martin Luther King district. When I first got into gangs at the age of 15. My mother, she was very abusive, more emotionally and mentally, sometimes physically. And I got to a place in my life I really didn't want to be around my mother. Had no memory of my dad. I wanted to belong to something that made me feel like it loved me or it cared about me. And that's what my homeboys did for me. My life was I Refuse. I made I Refuse my life every day. I was actually at a point in my life where I was at a man's mercy. He pulled a gun on me and he pistol whipped me. I had nightmares about that situation because he could have easily killed me. From that point on, I carried a weapon with me everywhere I went. I had got so paranoid. Even when I was in my home, I was carrying a weapon. I had a gun on me. I had an option to live a normal life. I had a job. I had an issue with people telling me what to do. I dated. I went out on dates with women, went to restaurants, but I was so paranoid, because I had did so much dirt that, I couldn't enjoy them. I couldn't be comfortable in those environments. When I was in a restaurant, I always wanted to face the door so I could see who was coming in, and I'm looking at the exits, trying to see if it's a setup. If I'm in the movies, I always want to sit all the way in the back so I can see who was coming in and trying to see if I can identify whether somebody was a friend or foe. Most people look at, like TV and, movies, and they see the part that's celebrated. And I think that's why there's no fear with our younger generation of why they're so quick to join gangs, because they don't understand the consequences, or they don't see the consequences behind their lifestyle. I went to prison because I was in a shootout with the Roswell Police Department. Robbery went bad, and we were engaged in a shootout with them, so I was convicted of armed robbery, aggravated assault on a police officer, and kidnapping. I was told that, my homeboys love me. They told me they love me, and they were going to be there for me and do all these different things for me, provide me with guns and weapons, but they didn't tell me that, you know, once I get incarcerated, don't call my phone. I'm not going to come and get you out of jail. I'm not going to come see you. I'm not going to write you. We're going to disconnect from each other. Every day, I say my first 8 years was a issue of wondering if somebody was going to come and kill me just because I was from Atlanta. It was, you know, seeing people get stabbed and hearing people get raped and all the things that was going on every day. It was real uncomfortable. And it was, you know, and then dealing with, you know, correctional officers that didn't like me, or they treated me like I was nothing, like I was a slave. I had basically made my mind up when I knew I was going to do a lot of time that I wasn't going to come out the same guy that I was when I went in. I went through the transition of, you know, getting my education and studying sociology and psychology. I got some counseling because I had a lot of issues that I had suppressed and put in the back of my head. I knew that ultimately, you know, I had something to look forward to. I had a son, and he needed me. I didn't want him to feel abandoned like I felt abandoned about my father. I just stayed focused because I knew I had something better planned. Once I got out of that environment, I wouldn't be the man that I am today if I hadn't went through what I went through. I wouldn't be able to be a person to help young people the way I've been helping them today if I hadn't went through what I went through in my life. I facilitate programs with young people to deprogram them, to get them out of mindset of being involved in gangs and show them that there's an alternative path. The same hustle and grind they apply to, you know, being a criminal in the streets, they can apply that to being entrepreneurs and basically becoming successful. I can help them address those issues and give them tools to deal with those issues and just try and encourage them and be a model to show them that they can come out of that situation, because I did.